Welcome to ancient Egypt, a land where sand met innovation, where the Nile was not just a river, but the lifeblood of an empire, and where gods, pharaohs and commoners coexisted in a delicate balance. From humble beginnings to a civilization that lasted over 3 millennia, ancient Egypt remains one of the most fascinating chapters in human history. Let's set the stage. Around 5000 BCE, the Nile Valley became a magnet for early human settlers. Its annual floods provided fertile soil, making agriculture possible. Communities grew, and by 3100 BCE, Egypt was unified under a single ruler, Narmer, also known as Menes. The unification of Upper and Lower Egypt was symbolized by the double crown, combining the white crown of the south and the red crown of the north. Narmer's palette, an archaeological treasure, depicts this pivotal moment in stunning detail. The early dynastic period, which followed unification, laid the foundations for Egyptian culture and governance. The capital, Memphis, emerged as a political and cultural hub. This period also saw the development of hieroglyphic writing, a script that remained in use for over 3,000 years. The Old Kingdom, beginning around 2686 BCE, is often called the Age of Pyramids, and for good reason. It was during this era that monumental architecture reached its zenith. Pharaoh Djoser's step pyramid at Saqqara, designed by the architect Imhotep, was a groundbreaking innovation. It marked the transition from simple mastaba tombs to grand structures designed to reach the heavens. The crowning achievement of the Old Kingdom was the Great Pyramid of Giza, constructed for Pharaoh Khufu around 2560 BCE. Standing at an original height of 146 meters, it remained the tallest man-made structure for nearly 4 millennia. The construction methods remain a topic of debate, but evidence points to the use of ramps, sledges and a skilled workforce, not slave labor as once believed. Workers lived in nearby villages, receiving wages in food, beer and shelter. Imagine being paid in bread and beer for constructing one of the world's wonders. Now that's a benefits package. This era of fragmentation lasted until 2040 BCE and was marked by regional rulers, known as nomarchs, asserting control over their territories. While political stability crumbled, cultural and artistic experimentation thrived. Literature like the instruction of Amenemhat and tales of commoners gained prominence, providing a glimpse into the lives of ordinary Egyptians. Local autonomy also fostered creativity, laying the groundwork for future innovations during Egypt's reunification. The Middle Kingdom began with the reunification of Egypt under Mentuhotep II. Centered in Thebes, this period is often seen as a renaissance. Art and literature flourished, with new genres and styles reflecting both royal and commoner experiences. Pharaohs adopted a more inclusive image, portraying themselves as shepherds guiding their flock. One of the great achievements of this era was the expansion of Egypt's borders. Campaigns in Nubia secured gold mines, while expeditions to the Sinai Peninsula harvested precious turquoise. Pharaoh Senusret III, known for his military prowess, solidified Egypt's control over these regions. Architecturally, the Middle Kingdom moved away from pyramids in favor of rock-cut tombs in places like Beni Hassan. This shift reflected changing beliefs about the afterlife and practicality. Rock-cut tombs were less prone to tomb raiders. Around 1782 BCE, the Second Intermediate Period began. This time of disunity saw the rise of the Hyksos, a Semitic-speaking people who introduced new technologies like the horse-drawn chariot and composite bow. They ruled parts of northern Egypt from their capital at Avaris. The Hyksos influence wasn't purely destructive. Their innovations were adopted and improved by the Egyptians, setting the stage for the new kingdom. The turning point came when Ahmose I, a Theban prince, expelled the Hyksos and unified Egypt once more around 1550 BCE. The New Kingdom is Egypt's most famous period, marked by powerful pharaohs, sprawling temples and global influence. Ahmose I established the 18th dynasty, ushering in an era of military expansion and wealth. Egypt became a true empire, extending its reach into modern-day Syria and Sudan. Hatshepsut, one of the few female pharaohs, left an indelible mark on history. She expanded trade routes, commissioning expeditions to Punt, a mysterious land rich in exotic goods. Her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahri is an architectural marvel, blending seamlessly into the cliffs of Thebes. Then there's Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh. He attempted to revolutionize Egypt's religion by worshipping Aten, the sun disk, to the exclusion of other gods. His reign, though short-lived, produced striking art that broke with tradition. But his religious reforms were undone by his successors, including his son, the famous Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun's fame comes not from his achievements, but from his intact tomb, discovered by Howard Carter in 1922. Its treasures provided unparalleled insights into Egyptian burial practices. Ramses II, or Ramses the Great, embodied the New Kingdom's power. His reign, lasting 66 years, saw the construction of colossal monuments like Abu Simbel and the signing of the world's first known peace treaty with the Hittites after the Battle of Kadesh. Ramses II's legacy loomed so large that later pharaohs often claimed him as their ancestor. The New Kingdom's decline began around 1070 BCE. The third intermediate period was marked by fragmentation and foreign influence. Libyans, Nubians, and eventually Assyrians all played roles in Egypt's affairs. By 525 BCE, Egypt became a satrapy under the Persian Empire. The arrival of Alexander the Great in 332 BCE marked a new chapter. After his death, Ptolemy I founded the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled until Cleopatra VII. Cleopatra's alliances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony couldn't save Egypt from becoming a province of Rome in 30 BCE. The Nile River, often called the gift of the Nile, was central to every aspect of Egyptian life. Its predictable flooding cycle provided rich black silt essential for agriculture. The Egyptians divided their year into 3 seasons based on the Nile's behavior: Akhet, the flooding season; Pere, the planting season; and Shemu, the harvest season. These rhythms shaped Egypt's economy, culture, and daily lives. The Nile wasn't just an agricultural lifeline, it was also a transportation highway. Boats travelled up and down its waters, carrying goods, people, and ideas. Papyrus, grown along its banks, became one of Egypt's most valuable exports, revolutionizing writing and record-keeping in the ancient world. Life in ancient Egypt revolved around a strict social hierarchy. At the top was the pharaoh, followed by a class of nobles and priests. Below them were scribes and artisans, with farmers and labourers forming the base of the social pyramid. While the system may seem rigid, it wasn't entirely without mobility. Scribes, for instance, held a prestigious position, as literacy was rare and highly valued. Becoming a scribe was one way to climb the social ladder. The average Egyptian's life was shaped by the rhythms of the Nile. Farmers worked the fields during the planting and harvest seasons, but contributed labour to state projects, like pyramid construction, during the flooding season. Their diet was surprisingly balanced for the time, consisting of bread, beer, vegetables, and occasional fish or meat. Festivals and community gatherings were key aspects of daily life, offering moments of joy and connection amid the demands of work. Religion was the beating heart of Egyptian life. The pantheon of gods was vast, with deities governing every aspect of existence. Ra, the sun god, represented creation and renewal, while Osiris, the god of the afterlife, symbolized death and resurrection. Isis, the mother goddess, and Horus, the falcon-headed protector of pharaohs, were equally central figures. Egyptian religion wasn't static, it evolved over time. For instance, Amun, originally a local god of Thebes, rose to prominence during the New Kingdom and merged with Ra to become Amun-Ra, a supreme deity. Temples dedicated to these gods weren't just places of worship, they were economic and administrative centers employing thousands of people. One of the most distinctive aspects of Egyptian culture was its elaborate belief in the afterlife. Death was not the end, but a transition to a new existence. However, this journey was no walk in the park. To ensure safe passage, the deceased needed to pass a series of trials, including the famous weighing of the heart ceremony, where the heart was weighed against the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and justice. A heart heavier with sin meant annihilation by Amit, the crocodile-headed devourer. Mummification was a critical part of this process, preserving the body so the soul could recognize it in the afterlife. The process was intricate, involving the removal of internal organs, except the heart, which was believed to hold the essence of a person. The body was then dried, wrapped and placed in a sarcophagus, surrounded by amulets and treasures. Egyptian art and architecture were deeply intertwined with religion and politics. The towering temples at Karnak and Luxor, adorned with intricate carvings, were designed to awe and inspire. Obelisks, those needle-like structures, often celebrated a pharaoh's reign and their connection to the divine. Egyptian art followed strict conventions. For instance, in paintings and carvings, figures were depicted in profile with their heads, arms and legs turned to the side while their torsos faced forward. This style wasn't about artistic freedom, but about conveying eternal truths and order, principles central to Maat. The Egyptians were pioneers in numerous fields. Their understanding of mathematics enabled them to construct pyramids with astonishing precision. They used fractions, developed early geometry, and even had a decimal system. Medicine, too, was remarkably advanced. Egyptian physicians performed surgeries, treated wounds with honey to prevent infection, and documented their knowledge in medical papyri like the Ebers papyrus. Astronomy played a crucial role in aligning temples and creating calendars. The Egyptian calendar, based on a 365-day year, became the foundation for the Gregorian calendar we use today. Egypt wasn't an isolated civilization, it thrived on trade and diplomacy. During the New Kingdom, Egypt's reach extended into the Levant, Nubia, and beyond. Trade brought exotic goods like incense from Punt, lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, and cedarwood from Lebanon. Diplomatic marriages, such as those between Egyptian pharaohs and Hittite princesses, helped maintain peace and strengthen alliances. No discussion of ancient Egypt would be complete without mentioning the great Sphinx of Giza. This enigmatic monument, with the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh, likely Khafra, has stood watch over the Giza plateau for millennia. Its original purpose and meaning remain subjects of debate, adding to its allure. After Cleopatra VII's death in 30 BCE, Egypt became a Roman province, and much of its ancient culture faded into obscurity. However, its legacy was never truly lost. During the Renaissance, European explorers and scholars rekindled interest in Egypt. Napoleon's campaign in Egypt in the late 18th century brought artifacts like the Rosetta Stone to light, enabling scholars like Jean-François Champollion to decipher hieroglyphs. Today, Egyptology is a vibrant field, with new discoveries continuing to reshape our understanding of this ancient civilization. From hidden tombs in the Valley of the Kings to the secrets of ancient mummies unlocked through modern technology, Egypt's story is far from over. Ancient Egypt wasn't just a civilization, it was a phenomenon. Its influence on art, science and culture transcends time, reminding us of humanity's capacity for innovation and wonder. While the pharaohs and their pyramids are long gone, their stories remain etched in the sands of time, whispering to us across the ages. We were here, and we were magnificent. To fully grasp ancient Egypt's grandeur, it's essential to understand how deeply integrated every aspect of their lives was with their beliefs, innovations, and environment. While their monuments stand as tangible legacies, it's the intangibles, their ideas and cultural practices, that truly highlight their genius. Education in ancient Egypt was not universal, but it was pivotal for those aspiring to rise above their station. Boys from wealthy families, and occasionally girls from privileged households, could attend temple schools to learn reading, writing, and mathematics. Scribes were particularly respected, holding the keys to knowledge in a largely illiterate society. Their work extended beyond recording history. They drafted laws, kept tax records, and documented agricultural yields. The Egyptian military was a formidable force, blending homegrown ingenuity with borrowed innovations. During the New Kingdom, when Egypt reached the zenith of its territorial expansion, its armies were equipped with chariots, bronze weapons, and composite bows. Egyptian soldiers also used shields made of wood and leather and wore linen armor, which was light and effective in the desert heat. Ancient Egypt's economy was one of the most sophisticated of its time. While much of it was based on barter, a proto-currency system existed using weights of copper, silver, or gold. The state controlled key industries like grain storage, with massive granaries ensuring a stable food supply, even in times of drought. Egyptian artisans were masterful in their craft, producing works of stunning beauty and practicality. Trade networks extended far beyond Egypt's borders, enriching the civilization economically and culturally. Finally, Egypt's achievements in science, mathematics and medicine remind us of their ingenuity. Their legacy lives on in countless ways, proving that their innovations and ideas are as enduring as their pyramids.